My people, 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 my people. I am here to talk some business. I didn't plan to come live today, but I think I have an obligation to the truth. I have an obligation to justice. I have an obligation to my people to keep you informed. So I'm coming live today, a little later than I normally do, but it would work. It would work. People, my people, my people, this is Sylvester Grenadine's favorite and most hated son, Alan Herman Fitzgerald Palmer, the bottom tongue man, the son of Hamilton and Verena Palmer. I am coming to you to talk some Sylvester business now. Right? I'm coming to you to talk some Sylvester business. I broke my camera stand. So until I get a replacement, I would have to do these live video without giving you some background and without showing you much things that are happening in the environment where I am, as I most oftentimes do when I have the time. So people, let us talk some business here. And as you can see from the caption, right? We have some serious things to discuss. Some things that should be of concern to every Vincentian. Every Vincentian should be concerned about this. So remember people, I'm not telling you to share. Let's share in this video be an issue of conscience. Yeah. So I am inviting a few folks as I speak here. Normally, I don't know who would want to be a part of this live video. So I'm just sending out some invitation to people to come live with me. Right? So while I talk here randomly, I don't know if you can see me properly because I cannot see myself. But I'm sending out some invitation to people to come. I think Evelyn Spence have shared even before I asked her to share. Right? Thank you, Evelyn Spence. You are a trooper. You are one of my faithful and loyal listeners, and I must always big you up, right? So now I think I have invited enough people. Let me see what is the condition of this audience. There's 6 of us here now, 8 of us here. Now my people, this is what I want to talk about. If you notice I don't have my phone the way I normally have it, is because the stand that I normally hook my phone in have been First Lady Abbott has shared. Nice, thank you for sharing, First Lady Abbott. Evelyn Spence. Thanks for sharing, First Lady Abbott. Thanks for sharing. And Catherine Collis have shared. Thank you very much for sharing, Catherine Collis. You know, today we're going to talk about some real business. People, someone sent me the article, the interview that Ralph Gonsalves had with, I think it was Eyewitness News. I say he's not going to talk about the Ashell Morgan situation, right? And always remember, when Ralph Gonsalves says he's not going to talk about something, he is going to talk about it. And not only is he going to talk about it, he is going to send coded messages to the people who he wants those messages to go to, right? So when Ralph Gonsalves addressed the Ashell Morgan situation in the papers, right, he used words like, listen to what he used words like. It is good to see. He referred to the violence in Sylvester against women, and he said it is good to see a woman standing up for another woman. Right there and then, that is a coded message to the investigators that Ashell Morgan, in doing what she did, was right because she stood up for a fellow female citizen. You understand? That is not how the Prime Minister is supposed to go about dealing with things. Another thing he said that have already prejudiced this case against Mr. John, the victim who was shot, is that why do you all take the allegation of one person as being the truth? Why do you all take the allegation of one person as being the truth? And you refer to it as outlandish, repeating the outlandish stuff. So what he's saying, that the allegation that Mr. John made against Ashell Morgan and Mr. Nelson should not be taken seriously. These are the coded messages that he is now sending to the investigators in these cases, that you can't take the allegation of one man over others. And Ashell Morgan actions was done in the defense of a woman. So it does not matter that there is a police system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that has an obligation to investigate, look into matters where reports are made, right? It doesn't matter that we have such a system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that if Ashell Morgan thinks that she has the right to go to a man home, a 62-year-old man home, or elderly man home, cause her friends to inflict blows upon this man, right? It does not matter as far as the Prime Minister is concerned. Ashell Morgan acted in the best interest of another woman. So Mr. John have to take his gunshot in peace. You understand? He speak about an investigation. So now what he is doing, by his utterance, he have no prejudice the investigator, and he have no prejudice the investigation. This is the kind of Prime Minister we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who will go out of his way to express publicly opinions that are prejudicial to ongoing investigation. This is the kind of Prime Minister we have. Huh? We cannot operate on this level. Johnson, Jason, Prayer have shared. We cannot operate on this level. Because what he is doing, every time you hear Ralph Gonsalves say he's not going to say anything about a matter, it is because he is going to say words enough that will prejudice the outcome of whatever he is not going to speak about. This is the kind of Prime Minister he is. You understand? He has no country, don't understand the law. He don't understand investigation and how investigations are supposed to be conducted. And this is just the simple truth. Right? So when he go and make those remarks, he have no prejudice the investigation. Another thing we have to consider here. Here we have KARIM Nelson, the Assistant Director of Public Prosecution. The Director of Public Prosecution Office, of which KARIM Nelson is a senior member, is responsible for determining whether the government are going to pursue prosecution against individuals or groups who have violated the law. So here we see the Commissioner of Police, or the police, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution have to evaluate the evidence that was collected. But before they even evaluate the evidence, the Prime Minister is making prejudicial remarks about the evidence, about the people who presented the evidence. How can this be right? Another thing, if KARIM Nelson is Assistant Director of Public Prosecution and he's been investigated in a criminal matter, it does not matter whether he is guilty or not. The investigation is not done to qualify his guilt or his innocence. The investigation is done to see if there is enough evidence to bring charges and to take the matter to court. So if his office, if the office in which he's a senior member is responsible for reviewing these evidence, how are his colleagues expected to work under the stress of being supervised by Mr. Nelson, the Assistant Director of Public Prosecution? How are they expect to function with any level of sanity, with any level of dignity, and with any level of honesty? And this man is still on the job. And as far as the information leads, he was the one who pulled the trigger that shot Mr. John in his leg. So here we have a man who is working in an office that is responsible for investigating a crime that was committed against a member of our citizenry, is still on the job, is still creating an unfriendly environment with his colleague, because now they have to now look at him in his face and review the evidence, and probably he would have an input in the reviewing of the evidence. This man should have been suspended. Ashell Morgan should have been suspended, because if we are looking for justice, if we are looking for an honest investigation without the prejudices that could hamper the outcome of an investigation, Ralph Gonsalves have to shut up, Mr. Nelson have to be suspended, Ashell Morgan have to be suspended. Otherwise, in the office of the Director of Public Prosecution, there will not be an investigation and a proper review of the evidence, because Mr. Nelson is still in the environment. He is still in the environment. His presence will provide a hostile environment for those who are required to review the evidence. His presence will produce and create a hostile environment for those who are required to review the evidence. It is hard enough to review evidence about a colleague, someone who you know, someone who you work with, when they're not there, in their absence. You must judge how difficult it will be if you are called upon to review these evidence when he's still walking around the office. Huh? How difficult is Ralph Gonsalves? How difficult are they trying to make these people's work? Let me tell you something, right? It is not a difficult task to investigate matters, right? But sometimes when you are called upon to look into incidents where people who you are close to are involved, it can prejudice the way you look at the evidence that is being presented. You understand? And this is just a simple fact. It could prejudice the way you see the evidence that is being presented, especially if that person is around and is looking over your shoulder. Fisher, she left this. Council 5 say, investigator sorry. Junior Haynes. The police and the investigators are all Ralph. Ralph is alone, nobody is over him. Council 5. Catherine Collis, he always interfering. And that is correct. So this is what, let me see. Gwyneth Fiona. Faye says, I got left this year for you to finish. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness in high places. You are correct, my friend. You are correct. Elvira Thomas is watching. So now that is the situation that we find ourselves in, right? So we have Mr. Nelson, who is the Assistant Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, is literally overseeing the investigation against him. Because if he is a senior member of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and he is still there, unsuspended, and he's not suspended, that means he is overseeing the investigation that is being made against, that he is the defendant in. This cannot be right. This cannot be true. This cannot be happening. People, another thing I want to talk about, right? Another thing I want to talk about. I'm surprised much people ain't talking about it. Eloise Gonsalves, the wife of Ralph Gonsalves, the Prime Minister, had a cyst growing on her spinal cord. There are surgeons in St. Vincent who are capable of doing that operation with very little ease. Right? There are surgeons in St. Vincent who are capable of removing a cyst from Eloise Gonsalves' spinal cord. It is not a neurological operation. It is not spinal invasion operation. It's not invasive spinally. They didn't have to cut into a spine. All they were doing is that she had a growth on her spinal cord. The spinal cord, all they're doing is cleaning the growth, a cyst, a fleshy growth away from her spinal cord. That's all. It's a simple operation. Even I could do it. Eloise Gonsalves decided she is not going to be treated at the Mental Cato Memorial Hospital. That's her decision, right? And she was flown out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to New York City. When there are surgeons who are capable of performing that surgery in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Now, what kind of health system we have? A health system for poor people and a health system for government ministers and their wives because they are not rich, right? Let me tell you something. Last year, a politician from Ghana left Ghana, and I think he went to England to do a surgical procedure. And the Ghanaian people went to his hotel room. They pulled him out of the hotel room. They beat him, and they take him to the airport and send him back to Ghana. He says, you cannot take the Ghanaian people's monies to come here to have an operation. You are supposed to ensure that all Ghanaians has the same privilege to medical health. You cannot take the Ghanaians people's money to come here. It is your obligation and responsibility to ensure that you have the medical facilities in Ghana to address the health problems of the Ghanaian people. You are supposed to be treated in Ghana, not in England. They beat that man, a politician. They take him to the airport and send him back to Ghana. Right? But in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have those people who are responsible and has an obligation to ensure that the health facilities and services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are as such that every Vincentian should feel comfortable going to our hospitals and accepting the service from those practitioners there. Our people should be at comfort in our hospitals, receiving the service of our practitioners there. But no, they can find money to send Eloise to America because Eloise was adamant that she's, even though a cyst on her spinal cord was not a spinal invasive operation, she was not going there She will not be touched by those doctors. She will not be sleeping in that hospital. So this big whole story about neurological surgery was created to invoke sympathy for Eloise and Ralph Gonsalves and to prevent Vincentians from quarrying. Now, the thing is my friend Brinsley Oliver mother went to the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital to have a simple diabetic amputation done. A diabetic amputation, the removing of piece of a limb or part of a limb or a limb, is a simple and safe procedure. Yet, Brinsley Oliver of Beckwith, Jacqueline Oliver's mother, could not even survive a simple diabetic amputation, which is a safe procedure. It has been done thousands of times in the past without any complication. But Eloise Gonsalves cannot go to our hospital because she's too big. She's too big for that service. 1 minute, people. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to put my phone in the case. She's too important for that service. So they had to find money now to send her to New York City to do a surgery. See the beautiful rose garden? Take a look at it. Right? That could have been done in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because she was adamant that she's not going to the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital because the facility is not good enough for her. If our facility is not good enough for the Prime Minister's wife, it is not good for no Vincentian. So the Lion Gonsalves come on national radio and speak about he had to take loan. Take which kind of loan? Huh? Take which kind of loan? People, hold on, 1 minute. Yeah, take which kind of loan? The simple fact is that the politicians are put in place to ensure that the people, health and other issues are taken care of. If the hospital and the medical services that is provided at our institutions are not good enough for the politicians and their family, they're not good enough for no Vincentian. Remember, people, Storm Gonsalves had an accident a few years ago. The first thing his father did was fly him to Barbados. Was it that our emergency medical practitioners were not capable and able to deal with Storm in an emergency situation? No, it's because Ralph Gonsalves do not have any confidence in our people and our people's ability. He does not have any confidence in the hospital that he has destroyed. That is why he flies Storm Gonsalves out. You understand? Because he has no confidence in our people. He has no confidence in the facilities that he is asking people like you. Remember just recently, a young lady from Camden Park by the name of Anya, a beautiful soul, had kidney problems. Anya had to make up her mind, just a teenager, have to make up her mind to die because there is no way her parents could afford the medical expenses that her medical problem bring. Right? Who cared about Anya? Nobody cares about Anya. Who cares about Miss Oliver and the 6 women that were at the female medical ward with Miss Oliver? All of whom who had surgery and all of whom who died days apart. So we have to start doing like the Nigerian. If you are put in power and responsibility to take care of the needs of our people and you are incapable, when you get ill, you must stay in St. Vincent and you must utilize this service that every Vincentian are asked to utilize, because you are put there to ensure that our people not have the best, but have a reasonable health service where they can be confident in the quality of service they're going to get from the medical practitioner, the equipments, and the general facility that they are asked to go to. So here we see Storm got an accident. Ralph Gonsalves sent him to Barbados. Louise had a cyst on her spinal cord. They sent her to New York. And I tell you people, this was not a surgically invasive spinal procedure. All they were doing is just moving the fat tissues from the bony structure of a spinal cord. It's nothing serious. Even I could have done that surgery. You understand? Even I could have done that surgery. You want to tell you why? Because I used right guard this morning. And right guard make you confident. No, but on a serious note, Louise Mitchell's surgery was nothing serious. But she has no confidence in the facilities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that her husband have prepared. She has no confidence in the medical practitioner that operates in those facilities that her husband has hired. She has no confidence in nothing that is Vincentian, and she was adamant that she was not going to be receiving or accepting any service from our hospital. She was adamant that she was not going to be receiving any service from any of the medical practitioners who practice there. And I tell you, we have a lot of professional people who are practicing in those environments. Even Dr. Simone Keyser is good at what she does. She's an emergency specialist. She has the capacity to have taken care of Storm Gonsalves when he had his operation and ensure and give him the kind of service that he would have received in Barbados. She's that good. Right? So, these are some of the things that we need to consider. These some of the things we need to think of. How is it the hospital is good for regular Vincentians, but it is not good for Eloise Gonsalves? Why is it? Holy love, my sweetheart, I see you there. Nice to have you, my sweetheart. Right? So this is what I really wanted to talk about today. This is what was on my mind. I planned to come a little earlier, but I didn't get to come earlier because I got in a conversation with a young lady, a student of the University of Southern California. I was there speaking for quite a while. So I say, as soon as I finish that conversation, I just come and bring this to your attention. So what we have talked about today, we see Ralph Gonsalves have already prejudiced the investigation that is being conducted against Ashell Morgan and KARIM Nelson. He says that we can't take the word of one man, the complainant, right? We can't take the word of the complainant and treat it as unpolished, unvarnished truth. But here we have a man who was shot in the leg. That means what he is saying have to be true, because the medical record says He received a gunshot to the leg, and that is all you need to know. It is believed that Mr. Nelson is the one who shot this man. Right? And if you notice, Ralph Gonsalves is talking about being suing people. He's trying to keep vincdnt quiet. If you go and read that article, talk about he mentioned being sued for different things because he don't want people speaking about it. Now people, let us go to Ashell Morgan. Ashell Morgan is in more trouble than people really thinks, because the reality is Ashell Morgan is an accomplice to the shooting, and she is a conspirator to the shooting. Means that in her capacity as a senator, she conspired with Mr. Nelson to commit a serious crime which resulted in a man being shot. Right? And when you break down these crimes, we talk about possession of a deadly weapon, if it is licensed, the unlawful discharge of a deadly weapon, because they had no reason to discharge that gun, right? The shooting of a man, which will go down to grievous bodily harm, right? And as far as I'm concerned, if Mr. Nelson has a gun license, it should have been revoked, because he has proven that he is irresponsible, and he should not be allowed the privilege of being a licensed firearm holder. He has proven that he is responsible by his action, and he should not be trusted in being a licensed firearm holder, not in St. Vincent, not in any part of the world. Right? So Ashell Morgan has a battery of charges that will range from conspiracy, aiding and abetting, and all of those charges carries an equal sentence to the actual committing of the offense. And we think that her threats was a big deal. A threat is not a big deal. Her threats are serious. But it is not the most serious of the charge that she would be facing. You understand? It is not the most serious of the charge that she will be facing. There are a number of every offense that KARIM Nelson is charged with. Ashell Morgan will be charged with it in a conspiracy and in aiding to abetting the offense. And all of these conspiracy and aiding and abetting to commit an offense, all of them carry the same punishment as if you had committed the offense yourself. This is just the simple truth. This is just the simple fact. Nothing will come out of it. Ralph will protect them. Castle 5 say. Castle, I believe nothing is going to come out of it. I believe Ralph is going to protect them. But guess what? For how long? For how long? Don't forget, Alan Palmer will be back home soon. Alan Palmer will be back home soon. And guess what? I'm taking notes. A lot of wrong have to be rewritten when I get back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Right? First, I'm going to have my grandiose wedding where every Vincentian would be invited to at Victoria Park. And then I'm going to roll up my sleeve and get down to the people's business. The business of rebuilding St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The business of ensuring that justice is done in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The business of ensuring that there is accountability for all of those projects that had happened, where Ralph Gonsalves refused to have an audit, where he refused to ensure that accountants come in and review and prepare the records so that the people can know what is happening. All of these things will be done. All of these things will be done. You cannot depend on Dr. Friday to do anything, right? But guess what? You can depend on me. Remember, I am heading back to St. Vincent and Grenadines very soon. Sooner than most people think, right? And when we come back there, we are going to ensure that all of these wrongs are rewritten and they are made right. We are going to ensure that people get their justices. We are going to dig up all of those cases that should have been heard, but were not heard because people, the defendants, were affiliated with some political party, right? We will not be able to move on as a country unless all of these wrongs are taken care of and justice is served. Because if one Vincentian had to go without justice, we cannot move on, right? We need to close all of these unsolved cases, all of these cases where there are defendants, where people should have been arrested and charged, where people should have been prosecuted. We need to have them prosecuted. It's not about getting a guilty verdict. It is about ensuring that we allow our legal system to go through its natural process and people's problems are addressed and taken care of. It's not about guilt or innocence. Because even though evidence may be overwhelming, a jury may come back with a contradicting verdict. You have to accept it. Then the jury has spoken. So it's not about guilt or innocence. It's about ensuring that every Vincentian gets an opportunity to be heard in court and to have their cases decided upon by a jury of their peers. So Mr. John, if he is denied of justice now, will get the opportunity for a fair hearing, right? Everyone, because the records are there, the records are clear. We all know the records are there and the records are clear. We all know who. For example, we cannot move on as business as usual until big situation is properly investigated, until we come to a conclusion to see whether or not the destruction of Big's business was spiteful and intentionally done to destroy a black brother. We cannot move on. We cannot move on until we'll take a look at Marcus the Freighter's situation and see if it was spite why the government refused to pay Marcus the Freighter for his property. We cannot move on until we look into Daniel Cummins' situation and Leacock's situation and Miss Yusa's situation to see if they were relieved of their posts because of some political reason. You see, we just cannot move on business as usual. While we conduct the business of our country, we will be able to divert the resources to ensure that these peoples are taken care of. The allegations are heard and properly looked into, and a hearing must be held if it is possible. People, We just cannot move on as if it is business as usual, because it is not business as usual. Right? We have to ensure we set an example so that the next person go there, even before he think about doing any such thing, he knows that there are consequences, and there are severe consequences for his action. You understand? Not only would I ensure that there's an integrity legislation, I'm going to give an integrity legislation with teeth that would ensure people are punished, people, especially people in public office who misuse their offices, are punished for their malpractice criminally. The office of the Director of Public Prosecution will no longer be an appointment, but it will be an elected office where people are made to go into the community and campaign to become the Director of Public Office. So now we will make the people your boss, and if you refuse to do what is right, the people will have the authority to fire you or to give you a second or a third term. The office of the Director of Public Prosecution have to be an elected office where the people will are carried out. Not the Prime Minister's will, the people's will have to be carried out. You understand? I know some. Where you think he be? Who you think he is? I am Alan Palmer. My name is Alan Palmer. I am a man who has the interests of vincdnt at heart. I'm a man who knows what he's doing, who knows what he's talking about. Right? So, whether you like me or not, and I know most of you don't like me, you cannot say that I'm speaking stupidness and I have no basis in which I am speaking. Right? St. Vincent and the Grenadines is going to see a new day. We're going to see a new day very soon, sooner than most of you think. Right? St. Vincent and the Grenadines is going to hold all of those peoples who think they have power and authority and they can take advantage of the common ordinary man. We are going to hold each of them responsibility and accountable for their actions. Let me tell you something, people. One thing you all know about me, one thing you all are sure of, is that I always do what I say. I'm a man of my words. Right? I am a man of my words. I have no double tongue. I have no loyalty or allegiance to anyone but to justice, but to honesty, and but to integrity. You understand? I am not looking for a handout from no one. I grew up in bottom tongue. I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to be around people who has nothing. I am not trying to enrich myself off of the back of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I just want to see my people prosper. I just want to see my people do well. I want to see my people walk about and do things with confidence because they know that they are living in a land of laws. They are living in a land of laws where the people who are put in place to uphold the law are happy, ready, and willing to do their jobs. I want my people to know that no one is above the law, that the law is supreme and stands above everyone, and everyone is subjected to the law. Law enforcement must be made to enforce the law equally and equitable across the board, not based on who you are or based on who you know. And most of you who knows me well will know that when I practiced in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that is how I behave. I remember one time I returned to the station on a day off. The sergeant told me, if this guy come to make a report, don't entertain a report. I said, why? He too fresh. I said, that's not a reason for me not to entertain a report. He too fresh. I said, what did he do? I said, even if he did something against someone, the person must come and make a report against him. And let us investigate that person report. So if he's going to make a report against someone and I am there, I am taking his report. I am entering the report and I am going to investigate that report. That's what I told my supervisor. He and all the other members in the station have already made a plot not to entertain this guy, except for me. You understand? I tell him I cannot do that. I cannot be a part of that. When a citizen come to make a report, their report must be entertained and it must be given the level of seriousness that the law say it should be given. He is not making a report against me. He is making a report against someone else. It is my duty to look into that report as per policy and to deal with those reports as per policy. Not as I feel like, as per policy. That is my obligation. That is my responsibility. That is the attitude I go through life with. That is why I am not liked by much, but respected by all. There are people who come and watch my life, who plot and plan with my enemies in some profound and very simple way to try and get me to fall. Right? They can't get me fall. They are all equal, Vincentian. They would all receive the same treatment as I would want to be treated if I was caught in their situation. So people, my people, my people, my people. Ashell Morgan, I am close to that child. But she must be made to pay for action. I don't know KARIM Nelson, but he must be made to pay for his action without any political interference. And when Ralph Gonsalves makes such statements, he have already interfered politically. He have already prejudiced the investigation with his statements. This is a sad thing. And as I said all before, if the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital is not good enough for Eloise Gonsalves, it is not good enough for Kuman, it is not good enough for Pansy, it is not good enough for Jump Up, it is not good enough for anyone else. Right? If it's not good enough for Eloise, but now Eloise had to go to Cuba. Cuba what? All of that is just a part of the charade. She had to go to Cuba. Her surgery was not serious. Her surgery was just a removal of a cyst. It is a non-invasive spinal, not even a spinal procedure, non-invasive procedure she has, where they just remove a cyst, a fleshy growth from near to her spinal cord, making it sound like it's big thing. Making it sound like it's big thing. People, you know the people who have died in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at that hospital, right? How come it is good enough for them? Not good enough for Miss Gonsalves? Miss Gonsalves is so important. She's more important than Vincentian. She's more important than you who elected her husband. No, they have to depend on you for a job. And they are obligated to ensure that you have proper medical, health care, health facility, professionals, equipments. That is their obligation. Yes, Castle 5, God have a sense of humor. A good one too. You understand? All the money they're stealing through trying to stay out of the poor home, they'll end up right in the poor home. They're not the first people. They are not the first ones. They won't be the last. Right? My people, I thank the Most High for giving me knowledge, understanding, and wisdom so I can come and talk to you all today on this very topic. If you feel like sharing this video, share this video. I stop asking people to share it. I stop really beg people to share the video. I know my message is important. Right? But if it is not important enough for you to carry it out, so be it. God is good. People, have a good day. I'll talk to you all probably tomorrow again. Come back again and have a little chat with you guys. Have a good day, people. Holy love, let me single you out for some love. Sandra Grant, Glenford Charles, Gonsalves 5, Evelyn Spencer, Catherine Collis, Angela Stu Edwards, Tom Brown, Katara Daniel, my sweetheart Holy Love, Avis Charles, Dulles Francis Richards, Eugenia Cumberbatch, Valerie Clark, Evita Thomas, Al Tropman. I think I see. Tony James, you make it. Tony James, you make it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming by, sweetheart. You are such a beautiful woman in every aspect of the word. Physically beautiful, personality is beautiful. You are what you call a true Vincentian heroine. I respect you tremendously, my friend. So if you came a little late, go back, watch over the video, and leave your comment. Share it if you please to. This is Alan Palmer saying goodbye.